Welcome to Around the Kitchen Table, the podcast where we meet regularly, just as we would have done if we lived in the villages next door to each other, popping round to connect. The spaces that we've lost in our modern world show up here, around this kitchen table, where all of you is welcome. Let's begin. So, welcome, my loves. It is 5:05 on Friday, the 22nd of August, the middle of the night. For those of you watching, I'm going to kind of apologise and not apologise for the state of me because it is 5 o'clock in the morning. And my water bottle is here because I keep losing my voice. And I'm trying to be slightly quiet because the rest of the house is sleeping. And I have a candle lit here, just sitting here between you and I. And what's staring me at this crazy hour on the 22nd of August is really the diving into something that stirs me to my bones. And it may be stirring something ancient in your bones too. I believe that those of you that listen to that podcast, they show up, we show up because something in our collective energy pulls us together. There's no coincidences. If you are just stumbling across me, my name's Laura. I'm the founder of Sacred Sister, and I'm a witch. And today it's time to own being a witch. So that doesn't come easily for me to say. And I wonder why, and I sit with that often. And I recognize the collective energy around what it means to use that word. So today I want to speak to you about whether you're a witch. Are you a witch? Do you feel those whispers in the wind, those moments of knowing that don't always make sense? The shiver down your spine when you sense more than what's in front of you? The goosebumps, I call them truth bumps. Maybe you've felt too much, been called too much, doubted yourself, but still deep down you know. And under this rare black moon, the second new moon of the month, a cycle that only comes around once every 33 months, it feels like the perfect time to reclaim and to remember. Let's cast our minds back. I'm going to cast my mind back. When I was a kid, I used to go in the garden and I'd hang out and I'd do things now when I look back that I recognize not everybody did. I had a fascination with the earth. I had a fascination with, like, from as young as I can remember, I used to climb in my mum's flower beds and sit in the dirt. And it wasn't about the dirt, it was about the sense of the earth. And I used to make lotions and potions out of rose petals, rose petal perfume. Did anyone else do that? And I used to have fascinations with bugs, as long as it wasn't a spider. That spider energy always freaked me out until I got a little bit older. And as a single mum, I had to kind of find my way to love the spider energy because I didn't want my kids to grow up freaking out like I had about spiders. Again, a bit of an irrational fear for me, but one I later recognized I was carrying from my mum, who had lived in Hong Kong and had this humongous spider fall out of the wardrobe on her chest when she was about to get dressed. But actually, that was my mum's turning point of hating spiders. I've always had a fear of being underwater. My mum has the same fear. I never really understood why. I used to wake up sometimes choking. I couldn't breathe. That was a lot of my childhood. And then I found crystals as I got older. You know, I bought my first huge rose quartz crystal ring. I was about 19. And I bought this ring and I thought, oh, I won't wear it very often. It's huge. I didn't take it off for about 3 years. Most impractical ring. But I had to have it and I had to wear it and I knew I needed to connect with that energy. And then things shifted more and more and more. I look around my office now as I sit here at the feathers, the candles, the sacred waters, the oracle cards, the singing bowls, all of the things that are the tools for me. I move with the moon. When I used to have a period, my periods moved with the moon. Now I don't have a period. I had a hysterectomy 10 years ago. I still move with the moon. The seasons, the cycles, the times when my energy is high, the times when my energy is low. And then there was a recognition a few years ago. A lady who used to live next door to my grandma. So my mum and her grew up together. And then she was my Auntie Anne. I used to call her my Auntie Anne. Loved my Auntie Anne. She had an accent that was, she'd been cabin crew. She'd travelled loads. I come from a family that are actually old school travellers back in the day. My grandfather's grandfather was a blacksmith in the travelling community. But I I didn't really ever feel like I fitted in. And then Anne a couple of years ago sent me a message, a random message on Facebook, and she said, "Oh, I don't know if you remember me. I bumped into your mum the other day, and I was talking about kind of life things, and your mum said that uh, we would get on so well now. There's so many things that we have in common." And I said, "Oh," and she was telling me all about you and what you do and how proud she is of you. My mum would never say that to me, so it was interesting to hear someone else say that. She was telling me all about what you do for a living. I was like, "Oh, that's beautiful." And then I sent her a message and I said, "Out of interest, what did my mum tell you?" She said, "Well, she told me you were a white witch." And it was this recognition that actually deep down, even though my mum can't really share it from the outside, she kind of knows who I am. And it almost gave me permission to start to own that place for myself. I've been a healer. I am a healer. That's the work that I do in the world. And I have these big dreadlocks, and it's really interesting that when I first had dreadlocks, all extensions to begin with, when I first had my extensions, it was like I finally felt like myself. I looked in a mirror and looked like myself. I own a big red cloak. When I have it on, I feel like myself. So I wanted to kind of come on today and be brave enough to really share that with you and to own that for myself, and to not be in fear of it anymore, and to be braver. But let's talk about this energy that we're in, because the black moon energy is a space of introspection. You know, we've just come out of a retrograde, and often we think that we come out of a retrograde and that life will suddenly be smooth again, like the calm after a storm. But often it isn't. because retrogrades clear the ground. It's a catalyst for change. And here comes August, right? We live through the winter, desperate for the summer, and then August comes and it's fiery and hot and demanding. In winter, we long for that time, but it can be quite intense. It's a bit too much, and then we long for the long cooling balm of September. And the black moon isn't here to spotlight us like the full moon does. It's feminine and shadowy. It's introverted and deep, and it invites us inwards to stillness, to silence, to soul searching, and to intention. And I guess that's why I'm here with you now at this crazy hour, because I recognize my intention to really step into my power more fully, not from a place of ego, not from a place of being the Instagram witch, from a place that really honors my heart. And I want you to remember that the planets and the moons are just tools. There's nothing hard and fast about, having to, just because the moon is in a certain phase and the planets are doing something, that you have to run out and cast a spell in this very moment because it's the only time that will be available to you. Like all good tools, you use them when your discernment is right. It's tools, not rules, right? They don't tell you what to do, they invite you. So use your discernment. If this moment calls you to ritual, to intention setting, to magic, then follow it. If it doesn't, give yourself permission to say no. That is a powerful tool as well. No, with a full stop, and it doesn't require any extra. So don't feel like you have to run out and this moment is the only moment. If I'm learning anything more and more as I get older, is to lean in more fully to the quiet moments of listening to myself. So, what is magic? Let's be clear, magic isn't about glitter and wands, although for many of us in these days it can be. Magic is intention amplified. So, when I speak of casting a spell, what I mean is taking attention, grounding it in ritual, connecting it to the earth and the elements, and amplifying it with your own energy. It's as simple and as sacred as that. But here's the truth, and this is what's really moving me at the moment. Owning this, owning being a witch can stir something else. In me, it stirred fear and doubt, the shrinking, the hiding, the place where I didn't feel necessarily brave enough to step forward and own who I am. And this week, it's no coincidence. I don't know how you've been feeling this week, but this week has been heavy for me. I've cried for what feels like no reason. And yeah, I'm in the busyness of our festival season. I find that, humaning, being out in the world sometimes a lot. I love it. I love what I do. I love being in festival fields. I love connecting with people. I love sharing. I love all of that. But it's a lot. But this week, if you've been feeling it, it's no coincidence, because it was August in 1692, the height of the Salem Witch Trials, that multiple women were hanged. I can't even say that without feeling it. The month was heavy with fear and silencing and persecution. I feel that. Feel it in my bones. Energy leaves residue and the wheel of the year turns. And when we arrive here again, we feel it, especially those of us carrying witch codes in our bones. Maybe you feel it as anxiety or resistance or questioning yourself, going quiet on social media. I've been hiding for weeks now, wondering if you're too much, thinking of quitting. That's the witch wound surfacing. Because witches were healers, are healers. Witches are the herbalists. Witches are the women who connect with disciples. Witches are the women who have sense and feeling and knowing in their bones. And not everything that you're feeling right now is just you. Some of it's remembrance, some of it's ancestral, some of it's collective. So this week, let's make it a reclamation. We don't cast spells in hiding anymore. We cast in honor of all of the women who never got to. We speak, we share, we rise for the ones who couldn't, for the ones who lived in fear, for the ones who were silenced. Every time you show up in your truth, you honor them. Every time you reclaim your power, you heal them. And every time you say yes to your magic, you set them free. So I'll be honest, I've been waking in these crazy hours in the morning lately, buzzing with the energy. I'm sitting here in my office that won't be my office for very much longer. Whew, that hits hard. I'm listening to the sheep making all their noise in the field next to me. This space has brought me so much, but about a month ago we were given notice on our house. And this has been our home for 6 years. Excuse me. It's been our home for 6 years. And that's the longest the kids and I have ever had a home. In fact, it's the longest I've had a home since I left home at 17 to explore the world and find myself. And it's time. I'm ready. We need to move on. This house is kind of, in the last 12 months, is literally falling down around our ears. We've had floods, we've had fire, we've had roof tiles falling off the roof. And our landlords haven't really done anything about any of those things. And so we'd started to kind of consider whether it was time to leave. And as we were looking at the first house that we thought we might move to, a beautiful farm. We live on a farm now. This was a beautiful farm house on lots of land. Literally, as we came out of the door, my husband's phone pinged and it was an email from our landlords giving us notice on our tenancy. And they've given us 4 months to find somewhere to live because we've been good tenants, but model tenants. They've had to do nothing in all of that time. And through no fault of our own, they're bringing in their son to live here as a tenant farmer so that they can begin to consider retirement. Not sure if he's aware of quite what state the house is in. But anyway, we have to move, and that's brought up so many things for me. When I moved all of those times with the kids, it was just a kind of all sorts of reasons why, but mostly something came up, and I just knew in my heart of hearts it was time to move. This time, there's this funny energy around it. So it's been waking me at all hours of the day and night. Right Move is my new best friend, as it has been many times in my life. And it gives us this sense of freedom. And with that comes a fear of like, where are we going next? You know, ideally, if anyone listening to this has a field, that's where I'd be. I don't really want to be in a house. I find it really hard, especially in these summer months when we're outside so much. I find it hard to be inside for walks. But I don't think it's our time yet. I'm trying to navigate what my 20-year-old needs. Because he could leave home, but actually he loves being here and we all get on really well and he wants to still be at home. And a 14-year-old who's homeschooled and has her own needs and navigating autism and ADHD and change is really big for her. But I'm also being really called to the sea right now. I grew up by the sea. I'm being called back to the sea. So I don't know. The house that we went to look at that felt like could be a really good fit, they gave to somebody else that actually was a friend of the family. So I had to let that one go. And I'm dealing with a lot of this, you know. We thought there was an old mill. We thought we were there and it was all going to happen. And we filled in all the forms and did all the work and spoke to the landlady and it was all great. And then she said, "Oh, but I'm only going to sign a contract for 6 months because I think I'm going to put it back on the market in 6 months." I'm like, I'm not going to move to your house, do all the work, make it beautiful for you, for you to then kick us out. So it's a lot. And I think the difference is not having choice. We have to leave here by November, whatever, whatever that looks like. So yeah, I'll be honest, it's a lot. And I'm buzzing with this energy, but also I'm crying tears that don't feel just like mine. Tears that feel like they do belong to the women who came before me. Maybe you felt it too. The deep kind of inner wisdom that you can't explain, the way the trees speak in the wind and the whispers that you hear in the silent moments. I believe that we all carry an innate inner wisdom. That is your knowing, that is your power, that is your witch. But we don't often give ourselves enough time to truly listen. We busy ourselves all the time. There's too much going on. And we keep ourselves busy because actually, if we really listen to our inner intuition, our inner wisdom, it can feel quite scary. So, are you a witch? Maybe not the way history painted it. Maybe you don't have a black pointy hat and a green face and a wart on the end of your nose. You know, but maybe you're a woman who feels, who knows, who remembers. This black moon is really calling us inward, not to hide, but to remember, to set intention, to claim our magic, to honour the women who never got to. We are the witches that they couldn't ban, and we are here now in this moment. And that is powerful. You're not too much. Be you. I'm going to close this podcast with a little guided meditation. So if now is not the time, press pause. If you're driving, do not do this right now. But I want to invite you to really reclaim the witch within. And, you know, what does that word really mean for you? And if that word doesn't resonate, it's okay to let go of. You know, we have many words. Feminine, the goddess. Really, it's about a connection to yourself and to nature. And what Sacred Sister is really here to do is to get you reconnecting with each other, not to be in fear anymore of what it is to be women together, to know that deep power when we stand shoulder to shoulder. So let's go on a little journey. If meditation is new to you, if it's not something that you're used to, I used to teach that, if you can breathe, you could meditate. So we're going to go on a little journey, and all you need to do is hear my voice. So find your quiet, comfortable, beautiful space right now. Take a deep breath in and let it go with a sigh. Let your shoulders drop, your body soften, your breath becomes slow and steady. Close your eyes. Feel the ground beneath you, the earth, the mother that has always held you. The same earth that once held the women who came before you. With each breath, allow yourself to land a little more here and now. Now imagine above you a dark velvet sky. The black moon, hidden, shadowy and powerful, sits above you. Not shining bright like the full moon, but inviting you deeper into yourself. Breathe into the mystery. Breathe into the stillness. Breathe into the potency of this very moment. And as you sit in this space, I invite you to call to mind all the women who came before you, the healers, the wise ones, the medicine keepers, the women who were silenced, the women who could not stand in their power. See them now, gathered in a great circle around you, a circle of ancestors, a circle of remembrance. Notice their faces, notice their eyes, notice the strength and the sorrow, both alive in their bones. Now bring your hand to your heart, whispering softly, I remember. I remember. I remember. Feel their love pour into you. Feel their strength weave into your body. Their voices rise and they say to you, you are the one who can be seen. You are the one who can speak. You are the one who can cast, create, and become. And you are the one who honors us by living freely. Take that in. Let it land in your cells, in your very bones. And now, with this circle around you, I invite you to reclaim. Say silently or aloud, I reclaim my magic. I reclaim my knowing. I reclaim my power. I am the witch who remembers. I am the witch who rises. I am the witch they could not burn. Let those words echo through your whole being. Breathe deeply. See the women of the circle smile, bowing to you, their energy weaving back into the earth, knowing you carry them forward. Take another deep breath. Feel Mother Earth under you, Father Sky above you, and your beautiful, powerful, precious heart alive within you. And when you're ready, slowly opening your eyes, returning to the here and now, grounded, alive, and powerful. I'm smiling at this moment because the dawn is dawning out there. The sun is beginning to change the colour of the sky. It's now 5:35, and whenever I do any kind of magic, I get this itchy ear. It's like this buzzing of energy. So I'm gonna bring our podcast around the kitchen table to a close right now. But if you're listening to this, know that all of you is welcome here. And if you want to explore more, then come and find the sanctuary. This weekend we'll have a powerful new moon ritual. We'll have an inner dance over this black moon. We'll gather just as the witches gathered before us. You can join us in the sanctuary for as little as £11 a month, or you can join as a founding member. Our first 100 spaces, and then are not many left, were for 333, which you can split into 3 payments of 111 over 3 months. And then you get access to everything that we ever do in the sanctuary forever. But also as a founding member, you'll be part of our founding members WhatsApp group. You can connect in with the other women who are helping to shape the sanctuary and the village as it grows. And yeah, more chances to be fully who you are. So thank you for joining me this week around the kitchen table. I wondered how I was going to fit this podcast in because it's been a couple of weeks being away from home and not being free on a Friday because I've been in fields, and this was my one weekend and there's a lot to still do today. So the universe clearly said now at 5 in the morning, and I'm really glad that it did. So I'll speak to you soon. Take care, go well, and go reclaim your witch, because you are all magic. Lots of love. Laura signing out.